Real Country 1430 AM and 107.3 FM WRDN. Brian Winnikins from Commodity Classic, and thank you to our Commodity Classic sponsors, including Wisconsin Corn Growers, Elsivia Co-op, Animal Wellness Center of Buffalo Valley, Annabis Silo, Compeer Financial, Osteoplastics, Wisconsin Farmers Union, Synergy Co-op, and the Wisconsin Soybean Association. I'm with Luke Goessling. He's a corn farmer from Sussex, Wisconsin, not too far from where I grew up and as a kid in New Berlin. And we're going to talk with Luke today a little bit about his farm as well and what's going on, some of the things he's doing here at Classic. And Luke, thanks for joining us. Well, tell us about the farm in Sussex, not too far from New Berlin and Waukesha.
Well, actually, we're in Whitewater. We got a little typo on my name tag today. So third generation family farmer, raising two boys, wife on the farm. We all work pretty closely together, 50-50 rotation, corn and soybeans. Do a little off-farm income stuff with a trucking business, but just doing our best to try to keep the family farm going.
Tell us a little bit about some of the practices you do on your farm.
For the most part, most of our stuff is conventional tillage. We are starting to adapt some no-till stuff on some lighter ground that we have, exploring some options. We've tried some cover crop stuff. We're learning. It's a big process. We're trying to get a lot of that figured out small scale before we dive into it too hard and heavy, full bore. So,
when you're here at Classic, have you been able to maybe find some of those folks that have done the cover crops or get a little bit more education on that? Because you bet you can't just jump right into it. That could be a disaster because every farm's kind of different.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love trying to talk with fellow neighbors or farmers in our area or even other parts of the country just to see what things are working, in their areas and working for them. We've adapted a few things, from advice from people. But a lot of it still comes down to, we need to do trials on our farm, take the information that people give us and try to do the best job we can on our acres.
Talking with Luke Goessling, he's a Whitewater dairy or corn grower as well, as he's here at the Commodity Classic. Well, Luke, now is this your first time to Classic or have you been here before?
This would be my third time to Classic. I was last year and then years prior, so kind of still pretty new and fresh to me, so learning a lot of it.
So what are some of the things that you've been able to do here at this year's Classic that for maybe a farmer who's never been out here before should maybe think about when they come out?
So far for me, the speakers, listening to people talk, just listening to Secretary Vilsack now, getting out of that session. It's a great breath of fresh air to hear people in those positions talking so highly of our farmers and everybody in agriculture in our area, and the hard work that they're doing to try and ensure that we can keep the way of life that we're working for as well. So
I know there's a lot of issues going on, and sometimes I think some of them it's got to be kind of frustrating because it's something that's maybe out of your control, but you just got to kind of tell your story.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's walking around here talking to people, talking about the Mexican decree with GMO corn. It's on the front of everybody's minds now, what it's going to do to our markets, what it's going to do to our supply, the crops we have in the bins, where's it going to go, what are we going to do with it? And the other big one right now, people seem to be worried about is some of the new stuff with Waters of the United States, trying to re-navigate that now that that's back on the table. And the Farm Bill stuff this year, again, we're trudging through all that, bringing that up again. So learning a lot and getting a lot of different perspectives from people. So,
talking with Luke Goessling, he's a corn farmer in the Whitewater area from Commodity Classic. Mentioned your children. Are you hoping your children will take over the farm someday for you?
Yeah, I think every farmer hopes for that.
Would you want them to? I mean, I know, like for myself personally, okay, I own the radio station. I would have loved Brianna to take it over, my daughter, but then I also know all the work involved, and it's like, maybe you ought to do something. I mean, is that a concern for you that if they would, that remember, kids, this is going to be a lot of work.
Yeah, I think every parent just wants their kid to be happy and do what they want to do. But in the end, yeah, there's always that party that wants them to come back and take over what you started or your dad started or your grandparents started. But I think in my situation, I got two boys, and between the pair of them, they'll keep things rolling ahead one way or another, I'm guessing.
Now remember, though, be careful for what you wish for, because down the road you'll be like, now this is not how we do it, and they'll be like, now Dad.
Yeah, the other part will be that it'll be time for me to step aside when they're ready to roll. So I don't know if I'll be ready for that yet.
That's the other hard part, that you don't want to give. It's harder to give that up. It's like, no, I'll take care of it. Yeah, exactly. But well, Luke, it sounds like you have a great family and a great operation as well, and glad you had a chance to join us here at Commodity Classic today. We're at Commodity Classic. I'm Brian Winnikins for WRDN.